Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Brittany of Ethereal Astrology with horoscopes inspired by the moon. Let me be your guide. Today you're watching your astrology horoscope for the new moon in Aquarius, which occurs on Saturday, January 21st, 2023 at 3:53 p.m. Eastern Time or 12:53 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, what I think is going on here at this new moon in Aquarius is that we are getting a very significant clarity here about our lives, what isn't right in it from the past 2 years and still needs to be fixed, how to do it, and what we ultimately want to create after this point that is more freeing and more authentic to us, which is very, very beautiful. Here that's going on. But even though we're getting some very good clarity here, I think we're still hesitating to put it into action or haven't put it into action yet and are nervous and anxious and excited about the whole thing that we're just going to have to learn how to better get a handle on so that we can take the steps to make this clarity come together in real life. Before moving onward. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. If you want to hear more about that, please do stay tuned because we're going to hop into it right now. In order to get started, what I like to look at first or do first is place on the chart here what I am referring to so that you can see it and follow along with me. So let me do that now. This video is for the new moon in Aquarius on Saturday, January 21st, 2023. As a result, I have adjusted this chart accordingly. I know that because I've got the moon and the sun here at the exact same degree and the exact same sign. And when the moon and the sun are like this is what is considered here a new moon. Okay. What is this about? Well, new moons are the very beginning of a new lunar month and a new lunar cycle. And so they're about new beginnings, new energy here, and fresh starts. What kind of new beginning, new energy, or fresh start are we getting? Well, that has to do with Aquarius because that's the sign here that this new moon is in. What is Aquarius all about? Well, Aquarius is an air sign here. It's a lot about thinking and thoughts and clarity here about our lives. And not only that, but Aquarius too is a lot about the future and what's next, our goals and dreams here, and especially our authentic self. So not only are we getting clarity at this new moon, but it's also about our future, our authentic self, what we want to create after this point, those kind of things. Not only that, but Aquarius is also a very revolutionary sign, can be very innovative and unique and different. It's also a sign as well that likes freedom to do its own thing and the way that it is that it likes here as well. And being an air sign, it's one that's less emotional and is more detached. So what that means to me, I guess, to bring this part together here is that what is going on at this new moon in Aquarius is that I think we're getting a lot of clarity here about our authentic self and our future and what we want to create next in our lives and possibly even how to do it and how to do it in a way that's going to be better for us, more liberating here, and maybe even a bit more unique than it was before without maybe some of the emotional baggage of the past that we may have previously felt. Okay, now before I move forward to tell you more specifics here about that theme and about this new moon and how it's going to play out over time, I do just want to go backwards in time for a minute before going forwards here. And I do want to go backwards in time to better give you the context of how we got here and of why this is now coming up at this time, this new moon, to be felt, lived through, and experienced. And to go back in time, I'm just going to go back to a few random points in the past that I think are relevant to help catch you up on a few things. Okay, and I'm going to go back to actually an alignment that happened somewhere around the very beginning of 2020, between January to April of 2020. At that time, we had Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter come into a conjunction here around the later degrees of Capricorn. This is a very rare alignment here because Saturn and Pluto only come conjunct about every 35 years and not always with Jupiter there. So very rare. Not only is this a very rare alignment, but it's also, I need to note, a very unpleasant one because Saturn and Pluto are very difficult and Jupiter doesn't really help that too much. So this is a very rare, difficult alignment. Lucky us. What is this alignment all about? Well, it's a lot about us, I think, realizing that something in the structure of our lives, Saturn and Capricorn, needed a very big Jupiter change, Pluto, here in it, because with these three planets, we didn't really like where our lives had been going or what our lives was at that time, and we wanted it to be something different after this point, okay? So that's what happened here, January to April 2020. Something's not right in my life. I really don't like it. I need to change it. And not only that, but I do believe it took us about 2 years in order to really figure that out, especially until the next alignment I want to mention, which was a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, April of last year, 2022. Okay, what happened at that solar eclipse in Taurus in April of 2022 is that I think we finally started to feel like we were getting a little bit of a new beginning, right? It was a new moon, a little bit of a new beginning in a different experience of life that was more stable and secure, Taurus, and more abundant, Taurus, and more in alignment with who it is that we truly are after trying to get there for the 2 years prior, which was wonderful. But even though in April of 2022, I think we finally started to get into a new, different, and better chapter of life that we'd been working towards, I think we shortly after ran into difficulty fully taking that new and better experience of life and moving forward on it and maximizing it and taking it to the next level in the way that we might have liked. And that's now because of the next alignment that I want to mention, which happened 2 weeks after that new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, which I think was April or May. Maybe I'll say May, but it was right around there of 2022. And that was a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio on the South Node, which was a bit difficult here because it was on the South Node. What was that about? That was about us feeling stuck here in old things, right? And still not able to move forward on this new and better chapter in life that had just started to arrive here. That was hard. Not only was that what that full moon it was about, but also too with Scorpio. Scorpio can be very insightful and very connected to the other realms. It was also us receiving a very important insight or revelation here about why we were in a new and better chapter in life, but stuck, unable to fully move it forward. And I think what that insight was that we received here is that the reason why we were unable to move a new and better experience of life forward is because we're still doing the new stuff by the old habits, the old perspectives, the old behaviors, which weren't working, because a new experience of life requires new behaviors and new patterns in order to build it, instead of the old behaviors and old patterns that we used for tearing something down and overcoming old things. Not only is that what we realized at that full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, but we also realized that the new behaviors and the new patterns that are needed to make this new chapter in life a success are behaviors in which we go about life in a slower way that's more stable, more secure, more based on our needs and values over our desires and wants, that's more independent, more self-reliant here, more saving money, more thrifty, and that's not entwined with risky financial situations or relationships that are not in our best interest here as we move forward. And I think that those insights were very helpful and very useful, but if I can be honest with you, I don't think we really truly understood exactly what our intuition was telling us and exactly what all of that meant. And because we received this major download in May of 2022 about what was wrong, but we really didn't know what it meant, I think we struggled for a lot of 2022 about like what is going on and why in our life things aren't moving or feel slow or feel stuck here or just aren't coming together in the ways that we needed. And because for most of last year, I think we felt confused and stuck about like why things aren't coming together. We then, I think in December of last year, December of 2022 to January of this year, 2023, Mercury went retrograde in the sign of Capricorn while Mars was also retrograde in Gemini. And I think what happened around that time is that we started to retrograde think. Mercury, we started to rethink here this past year of our lives. And I think even longer than that, since 2020, especially because Mercury was going retrograde around that Saturn, the same degree and spot that Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter conjunction came exact in. I think we started to rethink things from the past year and from the years prior to that here about why something wasn't right and about why we weren't able to move forward here and try to even readjust things from the past few years as well, in order to fix them and make them more conducive to forward movement, which was a bit frustrating. Okay, but even though that was a bit frustrating, I think that was important. And I think us rethinking things and trying to fix things was important because I believe that it now gets us here to this new moon in Aquarius, of which this video is for, right? January 2023. And it now gets us here to finally more clarity here about why nothing's been working over the course of the past few years to get us into a new, different, and better chapter of life, and about what we do want this new, different, and better chapter of life to be, and about how to solve and fix this stuff in unique ways that we haven't tried before that are going to be more freeing and more authentic and more helpful to us after this point. Okay, and that's it, because that's all that I'm going to say. Now, in terms of the bigger picture or context of this time period, I'm just going to repeat all of that one last time here without the astrological jargon before moving forward. So let me do that now. What do you think is going on here? The big picture of this new moon in Aquarius, of which this video is for, is that I think we're getting very significant insight and clarity here about what has been keeping us stuck the past few years, especially since 2020, preventing us from moving forward into a new, different, and better chapter of life, and how we can fix all of that, and what we hope to create after this point that's more freeing and authentic to ourselves as we move forward, and to do it with a lot less emotional, drama or baggage than maybe we've had in the past. Okay. So that's it, because that's all I'm going to say there about that. I'm now going to talk more specifics here about this new moon in Aquarius in particular, of which this video is for. And to do that, I'm going to talk about some of the aspects that the new moon in particular is making, and some of the other aspects and alignments that are happening around it. Okay. To start, I think I'm just going to go back very briefly to that new moon in Aquarius right here that we've got and work from there. What was that new moon in Aquarius about? Again, it's about us finally getting some very significant clarity about what from the past 2 or 3 years hasn't been working, to get our lives in a new, different, and better chapter of life, and how to fix it and what we want to do next. That's more authentic to us. Okay. That's what that new moon is about. What do I want to look at next? I think the thing I want to talk about next now is, what is this realization, right? What is this realization that it is that we're having about what has or has not been working here as we move forward? And that, I think, has to do with Uranus here. It has to do with Uranus because Uranus is the ruler of this new moon, because the new moon's in Aquarius, and Aquarius is correlated here to Uranus, and also too because Uranus is going direct here at the same time of this new moon in Aquarius, after being retrograde for a while here, and is really the last planet that we need to go direct, which is now going to have all planets direct here. So I want to talk about that here. What is this about? Well, Uranus is about usually things that are innovative, things that are radical in a lot of ways, things that are very different than the way that it is that we've done it before here. And for some ways can like extreme, Uranus likes extreme things, especially being correlated to Aquarius, a fixed sign, and in Taurus itself, which is a fixed sign. And when a planet goes direct, it can bring some kind of insight, right, about something that we did not see before, especially at the new moon. In this case, some extreme radical insight about something we did not see before. And it's in Taurus here near the North Node, where it has been for most of this year. The North Node is a lot about our destiny and our purpose in life and things that we've been learning, especially since that eclipse in April. And it's in Taurus, which is a lot about stability, security, our needs, our values, our self-worth here, and the things that are important to us at this time. So what does that mean to me? Well, I guess to bring it together here, what that means to me is that at this new moon in Aquarius, we are getting a very significant insight, clarity about our life and what hasn't been working for the past 2 years to get us to where we want to go, and about how to fix it in order to move forward. And I think the clarity and the insight that we're getting here is with Uranus direct, is that the reason why things have been stuck over the course of the past few years is because we haven't fully been honoring our needs and our values and our self-worth, and we haven't fully been creating stable and secure situations here in our lives, and we've been sacrificing too much of ourself, our power, our worth away to other people and other things that are not conducive here to our own best interest as we move forward. And that now that needs to be corrected even more deeply and more radically here than it was before. Okay, so I think that's the insight we're getting. Not only is that the insight that we're getting, but the insight is also too that not only do we need to fix these things from the past in a more stable or more radically stable, secure way, based on our needs and values, where we stop sacrificing this away, but that's also what we want after this point. After this point, we also want more stability, more security, more calmness, and to only allow things into our lives that are really in alignment with who we are here as we move forward. Okay, not only do I want to say that about this alignment, but I need to note here, Uranus is on the North Node, where it has been for all of last year. Okay, that's going on, and where the eclipse was in April that I mentioned earlier in this video. So this realization that we're getting here at this new moon in Aquarius about our needs, our values, our self-worth, and about how much we've been sacrificing ourselves away is not a new thing that we just all of a sudden started thinking about. This is a thing that we have been reflecting on in some way, shape, or form for about the past year. What makes this different, though, than last April or last August or the things in between is that now we're finally realizing the depth of it. Now we're finally realizing in a true, deep, real, authentic way exactly what it means to have needs, to have values in a lot of ways, to have self-worth, and to not tolerate people and things who are going to take us in the wrong direction and upset that in our lives here that's going on. So that's another thought here. Yeah, a lot of clarity coming up about how the whole issue this whole time is that we weren't being stable and secure enough and honoring ourselves and values, and now it needs to be fixed so that we can create even more of that. But we've already known this all along, and now we're just seeing it for what it truly is and the depth of it that for some reason we just didn't see earlier here in some way, especially after learning and failing and all of that and rethinking things over the course of the past few months. And not only do I want to note that, but I also want to note here that Uranus and Aquarius, which are both correlated, are about the sudden and about the unexpected here that's going on. And I do feel that this is more in the vein of insights at this time, especially because we're not quite yet to the first quarter moon that's going on. So the next point that I want to add here is not only are we finally getting clarity about just how much we've been selling ourselves short over the course of the past few years with relationships and money and sacrificing our own needs, our own values, our own power, our own stability away to make everyone else comfortable and all this other stuff here that's going on, and how we want to create that afterwards, and how that's been the problem the whole time that now we're getting a more deep understanding of that we didn't have before. But I think it's coming suddenly and unexpectedly too. Out of the blue, I think suddenly and unexpectedly, a lot of us are realizing, oh, this has been the problem. I thought I was being stable and secure a few months ago. I wasn't. There's more to it, and now I know what that is. Okay, that's going on. That's coming up. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention here. I'm going to go back to the new moon itself. This new moon here is in Aquarius, making a sextile over here to Jupiter, which is, direct back in Aries here. Going to move through it pretty quickly. This is a very good thing here because it is a sextile, which I always interpret in a positive way because it's an aspect between two signs that are very complementary here. So this to me is also a good thing. What is the good thing? Well, Jupiter is a lot about wisdom. It's a lot about understanding. Not only that, it's a lot about optimism. It's a lot about optimism. It's a lot about excitement, especially in Aries, courage, bravery, strength here in a lot of ways, too, and about action. So what that means to me here is that not only at this new moon in Aquarius are we getting a major realization here about how much we've been selling ourselves short the past few months and years, which has been the whole bottleneck preventing our progress, which now needs to be fixed more deeply because we really weren't seeing that fully in the way that we were. But it's this realization that is actually really helping us, I believe, to feel much better and more optimistic about our lives and what we're going to do next. And just, I think, just more excited about what is to come and more able to do things after this point in a new and different way that's going to be better for us so that we don't keep falling back into the same old pitfalls and things like that. Okay. Not only that, but I also want to note here too that this new moon in Aquarius is making a trine over here as well to Mars, which recently went direct in Gemini. And this to me is also a positive thing here because I do consider a trine positive more often than not here, with them both being in signs of the same element that are air signs. What is the good thing going on here? Well, Gemini is open-minded here about our thoughts that's going on. It's also very communicative here at this time. And it's also very flexible about making adjustments in some kind of way here. And Mars has a lot to do with like our desire, what we're desiring here that's going on. So not only at this new moon in Aquarius are we getting a super important realization that our whole problem this whole time is that we've overlooked our own needs, our own stability and security, and have sacrificed them away a lot more than we even knew we were, that now needs to be fixed in order for us to move forward and create better things, which is giving us more wisdom and understanding and more optimism now, because now we know what's wrong and what needs to be done here. But I think it's also making us feel more lighthearted, more flexible, more open-minded here about our situation and about what's going on here as we move forward. Okay. That then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention here, which is now going to be away from the new moon. It's going to be Venus at the time of this new moon in Aquarius, making a conjunction here to Saturn. Now, this is a little bit of a challenging alignment here because Saturn's involved, and Saturn can be a little bit of a downer, bring a more serious tone to things and a little bit of restriction. So why is there a little bit of a challenge here? Well, the new moon, I need to note, is in Aquarius. It's been a lot about ideas. Most of it has been about ideas, right? That's the interpretation I've given you so far. We've gotten a lot of ideas, a lot of clarity about what's been wrong. The past few years has been keeping us stuck, which is that we've been selling ourselves way short than we really thought we were in relationships and sacrificing our needs and stability and security too much away for other people. Okay, it's been all about ideas. It hasn't been about action. And Saturn has a lot to do with the physical world and the physical reality and work and effort that's been put in here. And with it connecting to Venus, which also does in some ways have to do with our physical reality, relationships, money, etc., it indicates to me that that hasn't been done yet. And also too on the new moon, in the beginning phases of the moon. So what that means to continue bringing it together is that at this new moon in Aquarius, you've got a lot of clarity about what our issues is, what's been keeping us stuck in the past 2 years, which is that we've been selling ourselves way short than we originally thought we were and sacrificing too much of our needs and values away, which is making us very excited and feel much better about what is to come and what's happening. Okay, even though that's going on, these are just ideas and we haven't acted on them fully yet. Even though we're getting clarity, they're just ideas and we haven't acted them fully yet in our physical environment to make the ideas actually manifest. And because we haven't taken these ideas and put them into action to make them actually manifest yet, we're still feeling stuck and restricted. Like our environment isn't entirely where we want it to be yet. That our environment, our lived experience doesn't match these beautiful ideas and insights and visions that it is that we're now getting here about our experience and what is next, which is making us feel stuck. Not only that, but it's in Aquarius here, which can skew a little anxious and nervous. It's making us feel a little stuck and it's making us feel a little anxious and nervous here because things haven't come together, right? And because we don't know how they're going to play out. Not only is it us making us feel a little stuck and anxious and nervous, but also too, I want to mention it can also be making us feel a little anxious and nervous. And I even get a vibe of like excitement or like anticipation, like nervous anticipation. You know, it can make us like a little nervous, a little anxious here as we anticipate. Maybe that's what I need to say. I like the word. There's something about anticipation, excited anticipation that's a little nerve-wracking here that is going on that I think is hard about the whole situation. Okay, not only that, but I want to look now at the next alignment here, which is also a little bit difficult, which is going to be Mercury here in Capricorn, coming back into a square with Chiron and Aries now direct. This is also a little bit of a challenging alignment here as well, because it's a square and Chiron is involved. What is the challenge? Well, Mercury has to do with the way that we think and communicate, and Chiron can indicate fears, insecurities, difficulties, and in Aries, a sign of action, hesitation, holding back, doubt. In some kind of way as well, doubt about our abilities, Aries, what we want to do, what we're realizing, how things are going to move forward. So to continue bringing it together here, right? What is going on so far at this new moon in Aquarius is we're getting a lot of clarity, a lot of insights here about what's been wrong the past few years in our life that's prevented us from moving forward into a new, different, and better chapter of life and how to fix it, which is basically that we've been selling ourselves way too short with relationships and money over the course of the past few years, and that we now need to go back to be more stable and more secure with our relationships and money and fix those, to be more in our power and more in alignment with who we are here, which is coming suddenly and unexpectedly out of the blue here at this time. But this insight and making us feel very excited, but this insight that we're getting here, that's very good. We haven't put into action yet to actually manifest anything in our tangible reality, which is making us feel a little bit nervous and anxious and excited because it's all just existing in the mind. And because there's things in the physical that are still not where they need to be and that still need to be talked about or discussed in order to move forward. And because we have these great ideas, which we love, but we haven't exactly acted on them in the physical to align things and are nervous and anxious, I think we're starting to doubt. There's a potential for us to doubt this clarity that we've got or our abilities to carry them out, or to get scared of potential conversations that we may have to have with people in order to move things forward, which can be just a little bit hard here that's going on. Okay, because of that, I'm now going to lead to the next and the last alignment here I'm going to mention in this video, and that's going to be here back to this new moon in Aquarius, which is square the nodal axis, roughly. It's a little far away, but the sun is going to move into a square with the nodal axis over the course of the next few days. So that's really what I want to focus on. The new moon, but especially the sun, the days after this, squaring the nodes. Okay, what is this about? Well, when a planet squares the nodal axis, here in this case, the sun, what can happen is hesitation here, or holding back in some kind of way. And that's because we've got a planet, in this case, the sun, that's halfway between the nodal axis, halfway between the south node and halfway between the north node, 50-50. And when it's halfway between this, it gets confused and indecisive. What do I do? I'm 50-50, 50 south node, 50 north node. I don't know what happens. So what this alignment can indicate is some kind of hesitation. What kind of hesitation? Well, it's an Aquarius hesitation from fully acting on the vision, from the clarity to fixing these things in our lives that are going to be more freeing, more authentic, more stable, more secure for us. That's going on. It's some hesitation, I think, that's going on, which is preventing us from fully bringing things together. Because there is some hesitation that's happening here, there is some advice that I like to give with this alignment, especially with the Saturn, Venus conjunct Saturn at this time as well. What is the advice for a planet square the nodes, which is called a skip step in evolutionary astrology, which is what I do. The advice for a skip step is conscious choice here, and conscious choice to do the thing here, the planet that is being squared, which in this case is the Aquarius influence. So what this is saying here is that there is a real tendency for us to have these great ideas about how to fix things in our lives, but that we're excited about, but to not put them into action because we're nervous or anxious or afraid to have the hard conversations or doubtful or whatever it is. And we need to stop that, and we need to consciously choose to follow through. We need to consciously choose to follow through on these insights to fix these things in our lives so that we can break free and move forward. Not only that, but I also need to note as well that this skip step has a resolution node, which means one of the nodes, the north or the south, works better than the other here in order to help us make this conscious choice and decision and recover this skip step and move forward. And in this case, the resolution node is the south node in Scorpio, because that's the node the sun most recently touched just a few months ago during Scorpio season. Okay. So if we do the south node, it's going to help us make that choice. What is the south node about? Well, the south node's in Scorpio, which in some ways is about confrontation, being a martial sign, confronting people, especially because Scorpio is about relationships and money, confronting people, confronting relationships. It's also about our own emotions, confronting our own negative emotions and transforming. The Phoenix rising with the Scorpion, transforming those here and the ways that we need. Not only that, it's also about taking our power back from all of these situations that we've been selling ourselves short and giving our power away for the past few years as well, so that we can approach them better here. That's going on. So that's the advice here about how to handle all of that as we move forward. Okay. And that's it. That's all that I want to mention here in terms of the aspects in this video, because that's it. I'm now just going to repeat that one last time here without the astrological jargon, so you can hopefully get a different and better idea of what I think is happening here. So let me do that now. What I think is going on here at this new moon in Aquarius is that we're getting major, sudden, unexpected clarity here about what in our lives has not been right from the past 2 or 3 years to set us up for some new, different, and better chapter in life, and how to fix that, and about what we want to create after this. And I think this sudden, unexpected clarity that we're getting is that what has not been right in our lives over the course of the past few years is that we've been selling ourselves too short here and giving too much of our power away to people and things that are not truly in alignment here with our needs and with our values and with our soul here. That's been going on that we now need to fix in a way that's more stable and more secure in order to continue with that here as we move forward, which we already kind of knew a few years ago, but is now the depth of the realization is really starting to hit home. And because now we're finally realizing that suddenly and unexpectedly, not in a superficial way like we were last April, but in a more true, deep, embodied way that's going on here about what needs to happen, I think we're feeling more excited, more optimistic here, that finally we know what the issue is in order to fix things in our lives and bring things together, and more excited about the whole thing here. But even though we've got this great clarity and this great idea that's true about what's going to fix all this stuff, and we're excited about it, we still have not put this idea into action quite yet to fully finish these old things and fix this old stuff from the past 2 years so that we can feel more in our power, more stable, more secure, and more in alignment with our needs and values. And because we've just got an idea we're excited about, and it hasn't been put into action yet in the physical in any way, we're feeling stuck, not entirely where we need to be in some ways, because we still got to do all this stuff, and maybe even a little nervous and anxious about the whole thing that we need to fix and bring together here that's going on. And because we're still not enacting these ideas and it's all in the head, and we're nervous and anxious, I think all of a sudden we're talking ourselves in a tizzy, and all of a sudden we're starting to doubt our insights and doubt what we're coming up with, or get afraid of having the conversations to fix these things with people here that could be going on. That could be very hard, making us hesitate or stop or not do the thing that we need to do in order to finish the drill to make all of this stuff a reality here that's going on. And because there's a huge tendency at this new moon in Aquarius to just get a great idea and never do a damn thing with it. What needs to happen here is that we need to make a conscious choice. We need to make a conscious choice here at this new moon in Aquarius to follow through and to take these beautiful ideas we have about what's been off in our lives and to put them into action to actually finish the thing that we need to get our lives in a better place, and to put the insights into action here by confronting people and things that are not where they need to be, and taking our power back. Because if we can do that, we're then going to feel free to be ourselves and live a more authentic experience that's better for us after this point. Okay, and that's it. Okay. Do I want to put this in another way that's more conversational here? Sure. What is this new moon in Aquarius all about? It's really about us realizing what I told you all about last April at that new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. It's really about everyone finally realizing what I told you about then, but realizing it not in a superficial way, but in a true, real, and deep way about what's going on. And what was it that we talked about last April at that new moon solar eclipse in Taurus? If you've been watching my videos or watched that one in particular, what I told you at that new moon solar eclipse in Taurus in April is that the reason why we were having problems moving forward in a new, different, and better chapter of life here is because we were not in touch with our needs and values, and we're not going about it in a stable and secure way, and we're being too crazy, taking on too much at once, interacting with people who are not good for us, spending too much money here, selling ourselves too short. And now finally, almost a year later, we get it. Now finally, almost a year later, we get it. We get what that theme was about in April, and not just in a superficial way of like, yeah, I hear the words, but we get it deeply in an embodied way of like, oh, that's what that means. Oh, living in tune with my needs and values means me, not having sex with people I don't want to have sex with, saying no to people I want to say no to, not drinking when I don't, not doing drugs when I don't want to do drugs, not marrying someone I don't want to marry, not saying yes when I mean to say no, like now all of a sudden we're realizing, oh, that's what that means. That's what stable and secure in my needs and values means to me personally and to my situation. Now we're realizing that, okay, which is helping us fix a whole bunch of things here in our lives. from especially the past 2 or 3 years. I think, and fixing them by asserting our needs, asserting our values, and creating things that are more in alignment with ourselves as we move forward. Okay, I think that's really what's going on here. Even though we're a bit nervous and anxious and excited about the whole thing, that we just need to do a better job at handling. Okay. What else do I want to say about that? I personally, this is just my opinion, that what's going on at this new moon in Aquarius, right, is about us learning these old lessons from April and fixing old things from the past with a slower, more stable, more secure approach that's going on. Not only do I believe that, but I believe that with all the planets now direct for the next 2 or 3 months, that's actually going to happen. That with all planets now direct over the course of the next 2 or 3 months, we're actually going to have success to fix these old things in a more stable and secure way. Okay. When it comes to new stuff now, right? Because this is fundamental to my interpretation, right? We're fixing things from the past 2 or 3 years, not in alignment. When it comes to new things that we want to do that we've never done before here, that we've never done before, or haven't started to do, or just came to our minds a day ago, when it comes to totally new stuff, that's not now, that's not this month, that's not the next month. To me, when it comes to manifesting totally new things you've never done before in your life, that is Aries season, because that's what Aries is all about, starting new things, which is the very end of March and into April. So that's the other thought that I have here. This is a major realization we're getting here about just how much we really have been giving ourselves and our power away over the course of the past few years, and now need to stop that and take our power back in a whole bunch of situations here, in order to move forward, and us fixing that from the past here, which I think is going to take another month or two and is going to happen very successfully. Okay, but this time is not about doing totally new stuff you've never done before. The new stuff is for later on, for April. Okay. So fix the old stuff now because it's going to work, and then save the new stuff you've never done before for April. And another reason why I think now is about old stuff here and fixing that is because we're at the end of the zodiac. Aquarius is the 11th sign, Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. And the last signs of the zodiac are not about new things. It's not about starting something you've never done before, no matter how many planets are direct. No, the last signs of the zodiac are finishing stuff you've been trying to do for a long time, and it actually working now, so that when you do begin new stuff April and onwards, you've got more of a clear shot at doing it. So that's my thoughts there. You got to go back. This new moon in Aquarius is about going back to fix a lot of old things from the past few years you've been working on now in a better way for you, more in tune with your needs, more in tune with your values, which is going to work beautifully here, that we're kind of nervous and anxious and excited about, that we just need to follow through on. We just need to follow through on here, and don't drop the ball. Okay. Because that's another thing too, sometimes I can see Aquarius is like a little bit of a talking head to me. Sometimes Aquarius can be that way. All these great ideas, super unique, super interesting, but then doesn't do anything with them, expects other people to do things with them. And so that's the other thought that I want to say here. This is us getting insights really that we've been needing to get for the past year about what's been wrong, preventing us from moving forward, which is that we haven't been slow, stable, secure enough and honoring our needs and values, and that now it needs to be fixed. Okay, that's what this is about here. And if we can fix these things from the past with this insight, it's going to work just fine, better than expected over the course of the next 2 months here, so that after that you can do new things, but you just got to make sure it's not all in your head only, and that you actually fix the stuff in the ways that you need. What could this look like? Maybe to give you some examples here, what could this new moon manifest as? Well, it can manifest as you realizing that you're in a romantic relationship with someone, and maybe have been for the past few years, but it's not really in alignment with you and your needs and your values. Just you and that person in general, you just want different things, you believe different things are important to you, and that now maybe you need to either end the relationship here or set boundaries in the relationship. It can be something like that. This can also be a job situation. Maybe some of you have been in a job for the past few years or whatever, and what could happen at this new moon is that you're realizing that job really hasn't been good for you. You've been losing money or not making enough money. That's been very hard for you, and your coworkers are not working for you, and it's just been making you more insecure and all of that, and you haven't really been getting what you've been worth. So what could happen for some of you at this new moon in Aquarius is that you could finally now realize that you either need to leave that job or switch teams at work, or switch positions here, or get a new job, or advocate for a raise at the current job or something like that here, in order for you to move forward. It could also be, home situations. Maybe some of you, have lived in a place for the past few years, but maybe all of a sudden what you're realizing is that you've only lived in this place for the past few years because you've been afraid to move somewhere else, and haven't been believing enough in yourself, and that the place that you're living in now doesn't resonate with your needs and values, isn't stable and secure, and that now you need to leave and move. Or if you already tried to sell and move, you need to revisit that again now with more confidence about yourself and your needs in order to move forward. So something like that. Maybe this is another example. Maybe this is a passion project or a business idea or something. Maybe some of you have had a business idea or a passion project you've been trying to make happen for the past few months and years, but maybe what you're realizing now at this new moon in Aquarius is that that passion project just isn't in tune with your needs and values and that business idea, and you don't want to do it. You want to do something else here that's more resonant with you. Or maybe you like the passion project and you like the business here that's been going on, but maybe you're realizing that you have been not being confident enough in what you're doing and been selling yourself short there, and that you need to go back to revisit your passion project or your business, but with more confidence now, and more knowledge of what you're doing and of how to make it work as you move forward. So it can also be something like that. Okay, and I think that's all that I've got there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look here at your inside degree. They weren't written by me, they were written by someone else named Elias Lonsdale, who channeled the meanings of each of the degrees from Spirit. So let's take a look at those. I like to look at them to give more information here on the new moon. We've got 1 degree Aquarius, which is the degree of the new moon. It says, taking a good look at things with an eager eye brings you right into the middle of the dilemma of polarities. As you stand there faced with different sides, you are impartial. Neither side pulls you more sharply than the other. So I think what this says to me about this new moon in Aquarius is that I think we are getting ideas, right? We are getting, right? An eager eye brings you right into the middle of the dilemma of the polarities. I think we are getting some kind of idea, right? Bird's eye view, some kind of idea, bird's eye view of the center, the core, the middle of the situation, of what the problem is in our situation, or what has and hasn't been working here that's going on. But even though at this new moon in Aquarius, we're getting a bird's eye view, right? That's what I get here, a bird's eye view of our situation and where we are in life and what hasn't been working and what we want to do next. We don't really feel pulled in any one direction quite yet to act, and are hesitating, right? That's what that means, to hesitate. We don't really feel pulled in one direction. We're kind of hesitating a little bit, or feel like we're hesitating, or suspended in midair or something. It says immense opportunity, huge challenge. You have vital potential for brilliant synthesis, but a subtle temptation to think too long. So not only is this inside degree here saying to me that we are getting a bird's eye view of our situation and what's wrong and how to fix it and what's next, so that's very beautiful. We don't feel pulled towards acting or not acting or anything, which in some ways is good because it's giving us time to think and reflect and build up excitement and things like that. But in other ways is bad because we may be thinking too long. We may be thinking too long and missing a moment to actually fix our situation instead of just live it in the mind. Especially too because the next line says a schooling and alchemy in every moment. Do you find what is ready to emerge, or do you think about it? Progressive evolution draws you through all your mistakes into all that can be. So a huge message, not just me with the skip step here. It's not just me saying we've got a great idea and understanding now about what's wrong in our lives and how to fix it and what we want to achieve next and how to crack the code to bring everything together, but we're hesitating. And we may be thinking too long and missing the moment to bring it together. But this says it here too. We may be hesitating and missing the moment here that's going on, that's hard, and we need to learn to take the vision and act on it. Take this understanding we now have and act to finish the drill to bring things together here as we move forward. Okay. I also like to read the next inside degree. I believe the degree up from the new moon, because I also think that can be helpful. It says, Aquarius 2, we adopt a split screen mind when the outward frame of things seems so insistent that we must be reasonable and logical and make complete sense in a quantitative functional way. But what happens is that the other side of our awareness, the outlawed side, gets very strong in the subconscious and stays alive. We can almost play off of it in emphasizing our skeptical or worldly approach to things. So what does that mean to me? It means to me that if we hesitate and wait too long, right, and don't act, then we can talk ourselves out of stuff, right? We can talk ourselves out of stuff here, because when we hesitate and don't act, right, because we've got all these ideas, and when we just sit with the ideas and think about them, I think there's a tendency to talk ourselves out of it and be like, oh, well, this idea about how to fix things, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Well, I've already kind of been doing it. I've already kind of been stable and secure. It's not going to work. I don't want to, what is someone going to say if I tell them this? You can kind of talk yourself out of it here. That I think can be a little bit hard. And that can create a whole bunch of weird responses, because when there's something that needs to be done, that we know needs to be done, but we're hesitating too long and kind of talking ourselves out of it, then our emotions can get all funny. Our emotions can get all funny because something emotionally is not being done or is being ignored here. That's going on. That can make us feel on edge. Look at it, says down here, this kind of edge hones the mind and soul and teaches invaluable lessons, not the least of which is to make way for the unknown while hugging the known close to you. So that's what I'm feeling here from these inside degrees. We're unexpectedly figuring out what needs to happen now to rearrange our lives, but we're not feeling pulled quite yet to act on it and are thinking about it. And we may think a little bit too long and miss the moment to act on this stuff, or not miss the moment to act on it, just not act and follow through and talk ourselves out of it here. That's going on, which may make us more frustrated and upset because we're ignoring what really needs to happen here, which is trying to teach us a lesson, and is trying to teach us a lesson to act on your instincts here, and to act on whatever you feel is in your best interest here, and to just trust, right? Trust that it's going to work out. Trust in the unknown, that you'll be able to handle it here as you move forward. So I think that's what I'm getting there. Right, because that's it. I'm now going to take a look here at your card. And your card for this time period is the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Wow. Speaking of the Uranus and Taurus, we've got the Five of Cups upright. The Five of Cups upright to me is a lot about the past. It's about looking about things in the past, which is what I think this is about. Remember, I said earlier, this new moon is not about doing new things you've never done before that just entered your mind. That's Aries season, April. This new moon is about fixing things from the past here, the past 2-3 years since 2020 that are not right, that are not where they need to be here, that you don't feel good about. Here, it's about going back to fix those things and to fix them with a new perspective here, to fix them with a new perspective. And what is this new perspective? The Queen of Pentacles to me is very Taurus, where the North Node is, and Uranus, to fix them with a newer realization of your value, of your self-worth, of your boundaries, of your needs, of the things that are important to you here, and of what will make you feel more stable and secure and better financially instead of less of it. It's you going back to fix all of that stuff here now with more knowledge, and infusing everything that you've learned and the newfound strength and confidence into that here in order to bring things together here that I think is going to help. And about taking all this stuff that you've been learning since this card is reversed over the course of the past few years, and bringing it out into the world to, be dealt with and be addressed. Not only that, but I'm also getting a feeling here of relationships, because the court cards do typically represent people, right? And there is a person here. And sometimes the queens to me can be a little bit more relational, connections, and things like that, connection based. So not only am I getting the sense that this new moon, which I've already said many times, is about going back to old things from the past 2-3 years and fixing them now with a new perspective, with all that you've learned as a stronger person, with more boundaries, more understanding of your needs, your values, your self-worth. But that may require you, I think, to talk to people, confront people from the past who aren't in where you want them to be, or aren't in your best interest, in alignment with yourself and your needs and values, which could feel a little scary. There's a crocodile at this woman's feet here in this card, which could feel a little scary. Maybe some of you are worried, if I go back to tell this person this thing or do this thing from the past, like, are they going to bite me? Are they going to hurt me? Are they going to get mad? Here, that's going on. So I think another thought that I'm getting is not only is there a need to go back to fix these old things in a different way, which is going to have a lot of us dealing with people. It could happen unexpectedly. So you or someone else could have this happen unexpectedly to you, but it also indicates that there's a need to go back to deal with these things in a more diplomatic way. Here, that's just another sense I'm getting from this card, in a more diplomatic way or balanced way, because sometimes the Queen of Pentacles is about balance between emotions and practicality and things like that. So I think that there's a need to go back to confront these people and things which could come unexpectedly, but to try your best to do it in a more balanced way here. With more even emotions as you move forward, which should arise naturally, right? Like, if you're believing in yourself and your value and your worth, then it becomes easier for you to be diplomatic, because you realize, this is who I am. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It just means we're not meant for each other, and it's fine. We don't have to get an argument about it. And so I think that's another thought here. Go back, deal with these old things, confront the people with this new perspective, may come up suddenly and unexpectedly, and try your best to be diplomatic here about it, because there's really no need for an argument. You are who you are. Other people are who they are. You both have needs. You both have values. Just figure it out and move on, and try your best to be just kind, and fair, I think, to the people that you're dealing with, because I think people only just want to do, what they think is right or best for their highest good here as they move forward. So I think that's all I'm going to say there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you all have a good new moon in Aquarius here, and I will talk to you on the next video.